Welcome to A Bit of Board Games, a casual podcast documenting the many failures and hopefully successes of Waffle Games, as we learn the ins and outs of board game design and self-publishing. Join us on this journey as we talk about a bit of life, a bit of design, and a bit of board games.
Welcome back to another episode of A Bit of Board Games. Today is January 18th, 2024, and this is episode 90. That is 9, I do this every time, I want to say 9 decades, like years. It's 9 series of 10 episodes. So that's 9/10 of the way to 100, which is pretty cool. So anyway, I'm your host, Steven from Waffle Games, and I am a game designer and artist and other stuff for our games. And with us today is Ralph. Ralph, just the regular co-host here. Ralph, art director, game designer as well. Yeah, so we're recording this a little bit late in the week than we normally would. So, because this episode comes out tomorrow from recording time.
We're also recording late in general.
Yeah, a little bit late in the evening, a little bit late in the week. Just because, somehow life just hasn't slowed down, and it's just like, I feel like coming back off the holidays, we talked about this last week, I won't get into it too much, it just feels like it just keeps going. There's just like, more things keep getting piled on, and just not finding like breathing room. I feel like I'm overwhelmed all the time. I don't know about you. But
same here, man.
Yeah. So I used to use this like project planner. This is from a company called Best Self. As a Best Self planner is what I would use. Which I actually have one here because I just got a new one. Bam. Not sponsored, nice. But they could. So yeah. All the people that work for Best Self, contact us here at wafflegames.com. Just kidding. But anyway, I used those a while ago. They're like 6-month planners. They go in periods of 6 months. And I think I have like 3 or 4 like filled out. I was counting them up on my shelf over there. Yeah, I've got like 3 or 4 filled out in various stages. Some of them like I've missed like an entire month and I didn't use it. But anyway, the general idea is like you've got pages of project plans. So it breaks it up in half. So there's like a 3-month section and then the 3-month section and then like a bunch of dot grid like journal pages at the end. But each segment of 3 months in there has project plans at the beginning that you can kind of map out an overarching project for that quarter and set like milestones and different like tasks you want to accomplish. And then after that, it goes into like a calendar month view for each of those 3 months. And then the one I use the most is like the week by week view. And so it's got like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday in columns broken up with time slots. And so I found it was really helpful just like organizing my thoughts and having something physical that I like would write it out and like plan out my days and my weeks. So like block out time for what tasks I'm going to be working on and block out time for like my meetings and all that too. And so like, I can take those time chunks and just, chunk them out and like with a pencil write them, like mark them out. And then I can leave it on my desk and then it's always open. My issue is like I've done stuff with like apps or like other digital things before and they get lost sometimes because like it's not just always present. If I have another window open or like the app's not open on my phone or whatever. So I found this is nice for me to just have it on my desk so I can just like literally just glance over at it and be like, oh yeah, I'm working on this thing. Especially when we use Asana at my work for like task management stuff, and it gets so crowded. It's overwhelming looking at it sometimes because like I'm attached to a bunch of different projects that are all spaced for the next like 2-3 months. So like it's just like a flood of things. Like they're organized by when they're due and everything and organized by project. But sometimes each project has like 10 subtasks and each of those subtasks get filled out too. And like they show in order, cascading order of like At least that's how I have it viewed. Of like when those things are due. So sometimes I miss some stuff in the middle of that, like for like a milestone for a certain project, because I'm working on like 6 different things at once, like a graphic design thing, a website thing, a video thing, and like I'm just I feel so scattered sometimes, and so I'm just getting back into using this planner. Like today, I just filled out for next week. I'm hoping I can kind of map out my time a little better, take control of it. Um, but with that, I use that for like personal stuff too, and like Waffle Games stuff. So I can be like, hey, if I block out this time to work on this, then I'll have a better chance of actually working on it. Instead of just like, I've got free time. I feel exhausted. I'm not gonna do this. But if it's like something in my mind, I'm like, I know I'm planning on doing. I am more motivated and feel more energized to actually get to that. So
That's the problem I have with all of those like corporate task manager
oh my gosh, dude.
programs like Monday.com,
Mm-hmm.
Asana, whatever,
Trello.
Trello. They all only make everything worse. None
Well,
of them simplify anything. The only thing they're good for is people way above you who are looking at things top down and just like analyzing the data
like,
that
look
you're
how
putting
many
in there.
tasks we've accomplished.
Look at like, yeah, how many hours were spent
Ugh,
in this situation in
yeah.
this department? Where are we wasting time? Where are bottlenecks occurring? Like that's the only people it's actually useful to. Anyone actually just working, it's a massive inconvenience.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the idea of it is great. You know, like organizing tasks and like it's helpful sometimes because I'd be like, oh shoot, like where are the resources for this? And our project managers have been really good at like attaching links and like descriptions and briefs because when I'm working on so many different things, like I lose where I'm supposed to find some of these things. And so I can just go to that task and like find all the resources I needed for it. Um, so that's helpful, but I feel like sometimes they try to like over optimize it and get everything working, and then it's just like it's a huge learning curve to like know how to use it all. So
Yeah. Right.
but anyway, it's that's something that I've been doing. Uh, Tomorrow I'm going up to Breckenridge, Colorado, which is a mountain town here. Every year, Trevor, who former co-host, I don't know, I haven't heard from him in a bit. He's like, for sure January.
Don't you guys have a group together that you do on like Wednesday?
It's like every other Wednesday, but we haven't met in January yet, so I think we're meeting next week.
Oh, okay.
But there's a group of guys that gets together and goes up to like for a guys trip in the mountains every year. We've done it for like 4 or 5 years now, and they're up there right now. So I'm going up just for like one night tomorrow, and I'm actually gonna go tomorrow morning and then work from a coffee shop up in Breckenridge, and then meet up with all of them later on, and then come home Saturday. So that'll be fun. I part of me is like hope, like the ideal situation here. I know it's to like see all these, like a bunch of people actually fly in from other states and around the country and everything. The idea, and like I'm sure they all want to hang out and do stuff, but I'm like, I almost feel like I just want to tuck away somewhere and just work on my own stuff and like work on something creative. I'm like,
Yeah.
it's gonna be nice to get a break, but I also don't want to socialize the whole time because I just can't do that. So
Socialize for me, maybe it's the same for you. For me, socializing is not resting time.
no,
It is
no,
I need to be away from people to feel regenerate re-energized or
energized.
whatever
Yeah,
it's called.
no,
Cuz yeah, I guess that's the classic
yeah,
introvert thing versus extrovert.
yeah,
I would definitely fall under like more introverted tendencies, but so
same.
yeah, being around people tends to drain me. So I hear exactly. I would feel the same way probably.
Yeah, no, like it's exactly the same with me. So luckily, I'll have my own car up there. Let a bunch of people like carpooled or flew in, so I'll have my own car, so I could just leave for a few hours in the middle of the day or something. Um,
Yeah. Sure.
which I probably will do. I don't know how long I'm staying, or like I don't even know when I'm leaving to come home on Saturday. So it's kind of I don't have a solid plan, which is part of the thing. I just don't know what to expect. Um, but it'll be a fun trip. Yeah, like I said, Trevor's up there already with a bunch of people. Um, maybe we'll try to get him here next week, guys. I don't know. There could be people listening to this podcast who don't even know who Trevor is anymore. That's how long it's been. um, although the funny
How long has it been? I think he took December off, right? That was
well, yeah, but it's been months since he's been on. Like he might have come on one time in October. I don't remember, but
yeah, that's true.
definitely less consistent once we brought you on. And then so I was thinking about this because
Is it me?
it's Trevor just doesn't like you, Ralph. So hate to break it to you. The guy who joined our Discord last week, Jason, he had a comment in there about a line that Trevor had said in an earlier episode, like episode 8 or something, where Trevor was like, "We've got a bunch of stuff coming down the pike," and I always heard it like coming down the pipe was the
That's
phrase.
what I
Yeah.
that's the way I've always
So
said it.
we had a conversation in this episode about this because I'm like what are you talking about? Like, is that a phrase? So we had to like look it up, and like it ended up it is another phrase for it, the pike. And so Jason commented, he was like, I hadn't heard of that either before. So it just that's where he's at in the episode. He's still in like 2022. Yeah, he's living in the past. So he doesn't even know he doesn't even know who you are yet, Ralph. And you're like the core member of the podcast now. Interesting times. So
I know, right? Yeah, he's got a ways to go. That's gonna be a while.
Yeah,
a lot of good. That's good though. I always like when I find something new where there's a bunch of it.
Sure.
That's such a great feeling. You still have all of it left, and then you binge it all, and then you just feel empty.
Then you have to wait once a week. Ugh.
Then you have to wait once a week. Yeah.
Man. Yeah, he I lost my train of thought there. He commented in the podcast questions saying like, I would ask questions, but I'm still in 2022. So I was like, stop living in the past.
You could still ask questions,
That's
probably, right?
Yeah, Evan hopped in there too, and Torsten, and he.
Yeah, Evan's a pretty regular listener, it seems.
He's the most regular person on our Discord as well. So if you guys want to talk in our Discord, chat with us, ask questions, whatever, you can find a link to that at what's our bitwafflegames.com, and there's a link to our Discord, I think at the bottom of that page. So I've not been working on Foundry, but I've been playing a video game.
The story of our entire podcast.
Yeah. This is the board game podcast that's about video games.
Yeah.
So I've just like I haven't had the capacity to like work on stuff like mentally or like anything, but I've been super into a video game that I've played like 2 years ago with some friends, and recently they had some big update and we all got back into it, and like I definitely have a problem right now. Like I'm like every night I'm like I need to play it. I need to do this.
I got on, and again we're starting late, so we're already like it's like time to go.
Yeah.
But like I got on and Steven's playing, and he proceeded to continue playing it for like another 10 minutes.
Okay,
long.
so
I was just sitting here.
The game is Valheim, and it's amazing. It's a survival crafting game, and it's so good. What was happening when Ralph got on here? I was in the Mistlands, a new biome, and as you can't see more than like 10 feet in front of you, it's like you have like a diameter of 20-30 feet maybe around you, and so it's really hard to see. And like then all of a sudden these crazy big bugs jump out and try to eat your face off.
Oh man,
it's terrifying. And then there's like some more elite versions of them came, and I was getting swarmed by a bunch, and I'm just trying to like get out of there safely so I can survive for a minute, just like to come back and fight them, because like I was not in a good state to fight that many that just showed up. There were like 5 different ones, and 2 of them were like these 1-star versions, which are like a higher tier. And anyway, it was nuts. But Valheim, so it's like a Viking themed survival crafting game, and it's awesome. There's you like it has a great system of exploration and like progression. Your progression is like by items you find around you, but then you can't move past a certain point in a certain like age, like an bronze age or iron age, stone age, whatever, until you defeat a boss for that region. And then once you defeat that boss, it gives you some thing that lets you craft a new item that lets you get this new resource or go to this new location. And so as you do that, you can progress, and then you unlock this whole new sets of armor and gear and like different types of levels of equipment and stuff, so that you're more easily able to survive in the next biome. And so like you'll start in the meadows, and then you can move on to the Black Forest, and the Black Forest is like where you'll find certain new metals you can get, and then once you get there, you can then get to the boss of the Black Forest. And so like and it's this randomly generated massive world, tons of different like land masses and like continent type things, so you can build boats and like sail around to places. It gets crazy, especially if you like die really far away, and you can make portals to different places. But if you didn't bring the materials to make a portal and you die really far away, you then have to make that trek all the way back out there to recover your gear. And there's a lot of lessons you learn that you try not to do more than once. So but there's each biome gets progressively harder and harder with more difficult enemies, so it's like you can't really survive in those areas until you've completed the area before. And the building mechanics are also really fun. I spent a lot of time building probably the best base I've ever, like the best structures and designed places that I've ever built in a crafting video game. I've been very proud of these. Like, it looks really cool. But then my issue is like I just want to continue that, and I'm like I'm getting like creative energy from building this stuff, and it's just been really fun. So
yeah. Well, I heard nothing. I mean, I've heard a lot of people talk about it. I watched plenty of like, I have my trusted reviewers on like YouTube that I go to hear opinions about like video games or whatever. Everyone who I've heard who's talked about Valheim has basically showered it with praise.
Yeah, I mean, I've played a bunch of Minecraft before. I have hundreds of hours in Ark Survival Evolved, like the crafting dinosaur taming game. That game was incredible too. The Forest, which is kind of a little more horror themed.
Oh yeah, I saw the Forest.
Not a fan of that one. I don't like it.
I didn't think so. I was like, that one is like a hardcore horror, isn't it?
Yeah, it's creepy, dude.
Pretty much.
It's like really cool, and like the mechanics of it were fun, but I'm just like, there's just like creepy like baby creatures, monsters. Like
yeah,
it was yeah, not
yeah. That one definitely looked scary to play.
It was very scary. Yeah, I've probably played other survival crafting things, but I enjoy that genre. So which brings me. Oh well, first of all, what have you been playing? You were mentioning a game.
I had
that you brought back up.
yeah. Yes, I had a spout with this game.
Didn't you like get kicked off? Okay, you continue. Sorry.
Oh yeah, I never said this story. I forgot.
You haven't told this story?
No, I don't think so. Not on the podcast.
Okay, we'll tell the game and then they can talk about that.
So I had a moment with this game a while back, months ago. It must have been, I guess, 6, 7, 8 months ago, something like that. Where I played it, I became like crazy addicted. Because this game is very unique in its gameplay, its approach to whatever.
Yeah.
Situations, systems, different things like that. And recently I put it away back then, and then I can't help it. I just downloaded it again, and I've been playing it again, and I'm right back in it. I'm like
What's
wrapped right back up in it, and it is prepare to cringe. Sea of Thieves.
mm, mm,
I'm playing Sea of Thieves lately, and the thing is, I get where people would hate this game.
okay.
There's a lot of things where you could fall on a lot of different ends of the spectrum because the game is so unpredictable. Basically, every play session is going to be. You could have the most exciting, ridiculous, insane play session ever, or you could get on there and have the slowest, most like nothing happening ever
Yeah.
play session. It's just like kind of until you know the game and you know what to look for and you kind of understand the systems and different things you can do to make it less uneventful for you. Like it is not new player friendly, that's for sure. So, but once you get used to it, it just becomes a whole lot of fun because you just don't know. You set sail. I mean, it's a pirate game, so if you couldn't tell by the title, it's like Sea of Thieves. It's a pirate game. You captain a ship. You go out. You collect. The whole progression of the game is like collecting treasure to buy new swag. I mean, that's basically the life of a pirate, right? That's the whole point. You're trying to get like new, cool, legendary stuff that you can flex.
Crustacean rifle thing.
Yeah, I mean, you can get all sorts of stuff. There's so many different things, and there's different ways to make gold, better ways than others. Or you can like choose to be a merchant. You can choose to go Reaper and do like full PvP. That's another like the reason the game is so divisive is it seems like there's kind of a divide between players who love the PvP side of things and players who really just want to do PvE.
They just want to adventure.
They just want to adventure, dig up treasure, and be left alone. But that's not really the nature of the game. You cannot escape PvP.
There's other pirates in the world, so...
Yeah, not to contradict myself immediately, but they did introduce what's called Safer Seas last season, I think. And it is a exclusively PvE mode, but I don't really count it because you only get 30% returns, and that is quite the gimp. Like, it really basically makes it to where if you really want loot and for it to feel worth it, it just doesn't really do. It's good for commendations and like random other achievements and stuff, but anyways.
Yeah.
So that's what I've been playing recently, and I've been really loving it. They introduced this new feature where you can buy your own ship, captain it, and get even progression through your ship. So see your ship level up and get new stuff for it, which is
cool.
Really cool. I have an open slot, by the way, on my I'm what they call a solo slooper. I play completely alone. And I get my ass kicked usually. So, I still have fun. I mean,
I would play that with you. It's been a while since I played it, but we could jump in at some point.
Yeah, you should. You should. If you're open to it, I could keep. I don't remember because you said you played it before, but you didn't. It didn't click with you for.
I mean, I played a chunk of it because I had a group that we would play with. And like, to me, it kind of felt like there wasn't much of a point. Like your progression, like was all cosmetic.
It is, yeah. That is, yep.
There were certain like titles you could shoot for, like the commendations, and like try to conquer the certain, like forts or like defeat certain sea creatures. It's like there's things you can accomplish that were cool, but I kind of like lost interest because I'm like, okay, well, I'm not. What am I working towards? And so, to me, it kind of felt like the world was a little too empty for some things. Like, but it's different. Like if you're playing with someone, then you could just go in and have fun and adventure and whatever. But like,
yeah, if you're drawn to like a meaningful power progression, that's not in the game. The entire power progression is just your level of skill and knowledge at the game. That's how you improve, not by buying like an item. Although you could argue a couple items in the game give you a very slight advantage, like certain sails that have like a V cut in the bottom where you have more visibility, something like that,
Oh,
right?
sure.
So, but yeah, so I mean, that's why I don't mind. That's honestly the reason I like the game, is because I'm not just grinding for a new weapon that I need to be able to kill this thing. It's literally level playing field. It is up to me. You're just purely in it for the adventure and the thrills.
Yeah.
That's really like the other day I'm a solo slooper, and I'm this freaking galleon crew, which is the biggest type of crew,
Yeah.
comes and is trying to, destroy me. They're trying to kill me. And I have treasure on my ship. I'm like, oh crap, what am I gonna do
Yeah.
here? So it's up to me to defend my ship. I get attacked by a kraken. I have
my
to fight off the
gosh.
kraken and the stinking galleon ship. And I'm like, it's like got me going. Like,
Yeah.
and I put but the thing is, I put up a dang good fight. I lost the fight,
Okay.
but I gave these guys such a hard time that they were like, it was all in good fun. They weren't
Yeah.
like actually being really mean or anything, but they were like, dude, I hate you. They just wanted to sink me, and I was very hard to sink,
Yeah.
which to me was just a personal win because
Sure.
it just made it fun.
Yeah.
I didn't mind that I lost my treasure in the end because I put up a good fight, and it was, that's the kind of thing I love about the game.
You got the story from it. You got the story.
I got the story,
Yeah.
the journey, that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
But
All right. So
yeah.
here's we haven't done. It's been a while since we did one of those game design sessions, like turning a video game into a board game idea, which I still need to do I want to do a thing with our last one that we did like the live stream on. But let's do like a mini design session. Do you want to do Valheim or Sea of Thieves?
Let's do. I feel like we've done random ideas that I've had the past few times. Let's do Valheim, but first, let
Okay.
me explain why I got banned from the Sea of Thieves Discord server. So I am officially banned from the Sea of Thieves
Like
Discord server.
official Sea of Thieves Discord server.
Yeah, the one, the like primary main one. I checked. I actually went back and checked again. I was like, am I still banned? Was it a permaban, or did they just like time me out or something? But no, it was a hardcore,
Oh my gosh.
it's over for me ban. So I was up one night and I was perusing the, lurking in the boards in Sea of Thieves. Yeah, in the like chatting, in the like tavern, what they call it, I think. The hashtag tavern, just everyone's just chatting, and it was like 3 a.m. Okay, so there was just like there were barely anyone in there. It was just like 5 or 6 of us who were just like chat. I was barely saying anything, but people were chatting. So, anyways, a little while into that, a couple people decided to start posting this little rat sticker. So it's just, and Sea of Thieves provides it. It's an official Sea of Thieves style sticker, custom for that server, rat. And so a couple people started posting this, and I guess a couple people got in a spat with this other super fragile triggered individual.
Oh no.
And the person was really upset that this person was like answering everything they were saying with just a rat sticker. And so everybody else pretty much got into it because this person was so like taking everything so seriously. Yeah, exactly. And so dude, I only posted like 2 rats. I swear. I only posted it like twice. I just was laughing at the whole situation. But then, of course, the person went and cried to one of the like trigger happy Jannies on the server, and they just auto fire machine gun banned everyone. Everyone who was in there except for that one person with the fragile disposition, I suppose.
The one individual.
They were just, it's like, dude, come on. No one's even on. You could just, it's like 3 a.m. What do you even want in this chat? It's just the chat tavern. But anyway, so yeah, I am banned.
Amazing.
For being toxic, I guess.
How dare you?
But again, I swear I only posted like 2 rats. I really didn't go overboard with it. I know spamming is like technically it's like against every server I've ever seen. No spamming, but it's like I don't know. I mean, whatever. Who cares?
Yeah, you dirty rat.
Turns out I'm the rat.
Yeah. Wow. All right. So let's do. Wait. Mini design sesh. That's the new intro to the that thing. Anyway, so let's imagine Valheim as a board game. Now, there's a lot of ways we can go about this. So first of all, okay. So have you played? Did you ever play Ark? Survival Evolved. Okay.
No.
I mean, I know you've played a lot of Minecraft. Have you played many other survival or like crafting games?
Survival crafting games that aren't Minecraft.
I mean, I can associate Minecraft with it enough so you can kind of get a good feel for it.
Okay.
I can't think of other ones, but okay. So
I'm trying to think.
So
I never played Terraria.
Yeah. Okay. Let's go like associate with Minecraft. So Minecraft, popular crafting mining game. You mine things, you craft things. You know, it's in the name. You start with nothing. You punch trees down to get wood. You can then make sticks, and you make wood tools. Then you can use those wood tools to get stone tools to get iron to get gold, diamonds, other things, all that good stuff. So you have to find these to progress further and to get to the next tier. Valheim does this in a much more expansive way, where it's not like you can't just go and find these resources around. Like you literally can't make these things until you complete, like, essentially go fight a boss of this area. In order to find,
they skill check you.
Yeah, you're boss locked, you know, in there. There's so in that sense it's like there, what is it called? In like a Zelda game, you can't do a certain dungeon unless you have a certain tool. So you're like, there's a hard lock. There's a term. Anyway, you're locked out of that area until you complete a thing. So there's similarities to that in Valheim. So a couple things. It'd be interesting to figure out how they would apply it in a board game form. First of all, would be the exploration, because part of it is like you have to find these biomes, and we could dumb it down and say like you can't. Maybe you don't find the biomes, but you have to complete a certain task or a certain thing in order to unlock the next tier that you can try to progress into. So we could look at it as like a direct progression game where it's like, hey, you start in this, you know, let's say the Stone Age. You start in like with stone items, stone things. And then once you're ready, or maybe you have a certain amount of time to gear up to fight a boss. You beat the boss when you're ready or whenever, and then you unlock Iron Age or Bronze Age, I guess. And so then same thing. So it's like a repeated cycle. And so in one sense, it's kind of like the other game idea where we have like the different seasons where like you're going through and gearing up and finding stuff and doing quests in the other game that we've talked about for one that we're working on. And then like at the end of the season, you have to either fight a boss or do like, you know, go to some event. And then you unlock, go to the next season, which is then harder and all this stuff too. Do you remember what I'm talking about? Banished, the board game that we're working on.
Yeah.
Codename Banished.
Yeah, I remember.
So that one we had like different seasons. So we could do that kind of thing where it's like each of these biomes is like a progression. So then you hit it, you have either things you need to accomplish or a certain amount of time to try to gear up to get there. So we could do that, or we could have like some kind of map that you explore on. What do you think?
I think, from what I've heard,
yeah,
and you can confirm this, but for Valheim specifically, exploration is a huge thing. Like people really enjoy the exploring side of it. So maybe a actually explorable map could
Okay.
be an important cornerstone.
So are we gonna go all in and like saying this is gonna be like a massive board game?
I don't know. Probably. I mean, that's the thing with like, especially like with something like
Ooh.
Minecraft or whatever. Those games are huge. They're like
Yeah.
infinite worlds, basically. So
I have an idea. What if there is an explorable map, but like it's not like here's a huge map and you're going to every little individual spot. Maybe there's like a mini map of different regions and like, hexes or whatever around. And they're hidden, so you still have to explore, but you start in like the center on like easy ones. And then maybe there's harder ones as you go out, but some of them are ocean that you have to traverse and explore as well. But like condensed. So maybe there's two parts of this game. One part is the exploration side where you can like choose to go explore a new tile and it'll reveal either a new location or like maybe if 5 tiles wide is like a landmass. You can find this whole landmass. And so you can explore to the edge and maybe it'll have the first two, maybe even a third biome there. And then there's like events or encounter cards or like things that you could find. So maybe you could like choose to explore and you draw a card and it's like, hey, you found these enemies, you have to fight them. Or you draw a card, you found this dungeon, so you now go explore this dungeon and try to get loot. So it's not like you're each turn like going through a square of tile of grass and Pokemon. Be like, is there a Pokemon here? Is there a Pokemon here? It's like you're going from like a town to there's no towns, but like bigger picture exploration. But then that affects, depending on the region you're on, that affects what kind of event cards you draw from or resource. Like maybe you can either gather resources or explore once you're in that region. So like each turn you can like choose to move, and then you can choose to either like explore or gather on those turns or something.
Yeah, true. And if it's sort of randomized like that, that's kind of true to the nature of those style of games as well, because you kind of go out and then usually there's some form of procedural generation and you really don't know what you're going to get. But you're working outwards from your base usually. I mean, so yeah, I think that would work.
Okay. So that I like that for exploration. The part that I don't know what to do. So with crafting, so there's
building the base.
So there's crafting like your weapons and armor, which they're tied to your progression towards the enemies you fight, the resources you gather, things like that. And then the bosses and stuff too. But the other side of crafting is like building. Did you have an idea?
Well, I did just think of something. It might be premature though, but you could do a mechanic where your base, bolstering your base is directly tied to how far you can go. Or like how like adding a certain component to your base means that you can now scrounge for and find this type of material to then bring back to your base to level it up, and then go out and you can now, if you build your base up a certain amount, you can now find a new biome or something like that. Building up your base is key to exploration in some way.
Okay, so there is a thing in the video game where the more you build up your base and the more like, say you build a bed and you add like a deerskin rug and you add whatever else, different things, you get a better bonus. You get a rested bonus. And so you get your bonus will last longer essentially be more effective, like the better you upgrade your base. And like same with like crafting stations, like the more accessory pieces you add to that crafting station, um, like add-ons to that or upgrades, the better gear you can make.
Hmm.
So yeah,
Yeah.
we could almost have like you wouldn't be able to like customize, be like, I want to build a wall, doorway.
Right.
Like you can't choose the structure but of your base, but we could have tiers of your base. So like starting with wood and then I don't know, maybe you could upgrade to stone eventually for a more secure thing, but like yeah, you could have built-in upgrades to your base to be like so maybe you have like your board, your player board, or maybe it's like one communal board if you're playing with people and it's like you have a main home base for all of you and you can choose which upgrades you want to purchase that either lets you craft things better or lets you explore further like you were saying
Hmm.
or things like that. I think that's a really cool idea.
Yeah.
Okay, so that I like that for the crafting. um in terms of actually like gathering materials, this game has a ridiculous amount of different like materials, like various types of wood, stone, flint. Every creature you fight has a different thing it drops. And as you go to like 5 different regions, each creature has its own type of drop or like material that it drops. And so you're like collecting all this. Would we have to simplify that probably and be like each region has like 2 to 3 different types of drops you can get from any of your people or from the creatures you fight?
I think you would have to simplify
Yeah.
unless you're making something, some kind of the ultimate survival board game where it's like
Yeah.
going to cost people $500
Oh
and it's going
jeez,
to come
dude.
with it's going to come in 7 different boxes. I
That's
mean,
Kingdom Death Monster.
oh yeah,
Have you heard of that game?
no,
Dude,
Kingdom Death
okay,
Monster.
look it up when we're done here. It's like a $500 game.
Oh,
And it's
there you
like
go.
this progression, like this long campaign game. Uh, it's massive. You can build out the minis for it because it's like they're so big. You have to like piece things together, and there's aspects of crafting from loot that you get from bosses, and like you have an inventory system. It's crazy.
Yeah, it
Uh,
looks great. I'm looking at images right now.
nice.
It almost reminds me of like when people go all in with like Warhammer 40K.
Yeah, people call this a lifestyle game because
Yeah,
it's not one that you
yeah.
just take out for an evening. Like you leave it set up.
No, this is a 20-year passion project.
Yeah, I'm just like it's really cool. I will never get it. Even like Gloomhaven and like Frosthaven. Like I own Frosthaven. Someday I will play it. But like that's one. It's like I'm not. I can't just be like, hey, you guys just want to play a quick round of Frosthaven if like we have friends over.
Yeah.
So like that's like a dedicated like campaign that you're going through. But,
Yes.
anyway,
Yeah.
okay.
And
So we talked crafting. We talked you can either explore or gather materials or something. But like certain yeah, that's fine. That's good enough for this. And so then the final thing would be that I'd want to address with this game. Obviously, there's way more detail you'd have to solve. Like, we're not just being like, "Here's the game, it's done, guys." For a Valheim board game, would be the boss locked progression. So I guess the progression side we kind of solved with like maybe there's you beat the boss, you get a certain drop of certain material or a key or whatever that then lets you either more easily or actually get through things in other regions. But the main thing we need to figure out would be like timing. So is this game just kind of like there's no turn limit and you guys just kind of do stuff until you feel like you're ready and it's more of like a campaign type game that you go through, or is it going to be more fast paced in a sense of like this boss is gonna invade in 10 turns if you don't go or something.
Well, I mean, I'm fine with random invasion encounters, but I do think that because that happens in these types of games,
Yeah.
it's like you said, you just got chased by a bunch of bugs or something. But um, I think what feels right for a game like this is a more go at your pace. You
Okay.
make the decision if you want to go up against the boss or not.
The difference with this versus the video game is like in the video game, if you're not gonna go for progression, do the bosses, like you can gather stuff and like customize your base and do all this stuff. That's the other side of the more passive approach to doing things. But in a board game, like we're not giving that same amount of customization to like really trick out your
Right.
base. So it's almost feels like there's not much point.
It would be more like you would just grind
right, and then at that point it's like
hexes for materials
yeah,
to bolster your base.
and I guess you could do. It just doesn't.
But
feel,
it's lacking the creativity, so
it's lacking the creativity, and that would also make it lacks the sense of urgency to actually like accomplish anything.
yeah.
I don't know. That's a question for another day. So, yeah. Well, that's all the time we have for this podcast. So that was a fun little design session. That's the
Yeah,
beginnings of what?
We got some foundational
Yeah. The beginnings of how
ideas.
we would turn Valheim into a board game. So
Now you take it and fix it and post it in the chat
yeah,
and tell us why
yeah,
where we went wrong.
and design the whole thing and sell it to the studio that made them.
And then we'll sue you for
yeah,
stealing our idea.
stealing our idea off of an IP that we don't own.
Yeah, I know, Valheim. Yeah.
Anyway, well, thanks again for being here, guys. If you want to keep up to date on what we're doing, keep listening to this podcast. You can also go to our website, bitwafflegames.com. Sign up for our monthly newsletter, which I did not send out for December at the end of the year, but tune in for January's.
No one knows what's happening now.
They have no idea. That's why they got to listen to the podcast so you know what's happening.
Yeah.
You can also find
Evan definitely knows. Evan's the only one who knows.
Evan's here for it. So
yeah.
Yeah, you can find links to our socials and a link to our Discord there as well. Thanks again, and we'll see you all next time.
Yep. See y'all.
You got to come in sooner with that.
I didn't know if you were going to keep
here.
saying. I know.
I always let you come in, and then I end it with bye.